I'd like to begin with a fact.
Have you translated space and time?
I have. I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Space, not time.
Welcome. This is episode 121.
121.
That's a cool number, right?
Millennialistic. Yes, welcome back.
Today we have my good friends, Katie and Austin Parker.
What's up?
Yeah.
Or does that say Austin and Katie Parker because it's your last name?
Yeah, it's both of our last names.
Formally
Formally and technically.
traditional Americana, but if you're progressive, I like to put the woman's name first because the future is female, is what I'm saying. You know
Wait, what's Keisha's last name?
Agazuma.
Dude, you should take her last name, Brian.
Bro,
Yeah, that would be.
I've always wanted to hyphenate it because I think, like, if we had kids and they played, like, sports, can you imagine Baron's Agazuma on the back of
no,
a
it would be
jersey?
BO for short. So you'd need to do hers first. OH.
Yeah.
Well, but it's just like it's the fact that it's like a
Yeah, why is yours got to be first?
Yeah, true. Well, that actually, and alphabetically,
Yeah.
they'd be the line leader.
Because he's the leader.
I just think it'd be hilarious to have like a German ass last name next to a very African last name.
Things are changing.
Yeah.
What's happening? But honestly, yeah, that probably is how it's going to be in the next generation. But anyway, well, thank you guys for coming on. Austin actually at one point thought he was never on the podcast, but after an archaeology dig, we found, for those of you that have been listening since the last time Austin was on, thank you guys, because it was almost 5 years to the date. So.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, what is it? You said 121 episodes?
Yeah. And you were on
Yeah,
like
it's
number,
a
you're
lot.
on number 6,
Seven, I
dude.
think. Yeah,
It's
something
6.
like that.
He's like,
Dude, I
ain't
honestly,
never been on your shit before. Like,
I don't remember that. Like, I mean, now that you're saying, like, I can visualize where you guys used to do it.
Like the loft.
Yeah, the loft,
Yeah.
and
That
and
big
I
brown couch,
think
yeah.
I do remember, like, sitting around because we would sit on the couches at one, like, was it on the couches where we did it?
It was very much beta phase.
Yeah.
yeah. We were like, which we would stay in for another about 85 episodes.
Yeah.
But we eventually figured out our shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we
gotta have a lot.
Make it a little bit better.
Yeah,
But a lot's changed since you guys have been on for our podcast and for you guys since 2020.
yeah.
We were just saying you had your anniversary back in January, and that was 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years being married. That was
Stupid, dude.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That was dumb,
It is.
bro.
It is wild.
That
It's
is crazy.
yeah. It's I blame COVID for the time jump. I think that like that messed like my whole perception of like how long things have been. COVID was just made us jump from like being married to like, oh, it's been 3 years. That's crazy.
It wasn't like a set date range either. It's just like you can just refer to it as like, oh yeah, it was during that time. Like, oh, everybody knows. It's like during the COVID times. Like,
Yeah, it was all like definitely a blur. Like it just feels like a dream. Like I remember
we all
it
fell in
happened.
love with Tiger King.
Yes.
You know?
I'm the only person. I'm the only person who didn't.
Tiger King. Yeah, that was weird.
I
dude.
still haven't seen it,
Especially because you're a big like movie TV.
You haven't seen Tiger King?
dude.
I mean, at this point.
No,
yeah,
you shouldn't go back
It
and do
got-
it now. But like,
At the time, you had to, but don't go back.
I should talk to somebody about it. Like, have you heard about Tiger King?
Dude, yeah. I'm getting into this new show,
It's so
Tiger King.
insane. Like I've been living under a
That's
rock.
usually me. I'm like, hey, you guys heard of this band from
5 years ago. Like, dude, yeah, he's still in prison. No,
hilarious.
I didn't get a chance. I was like kind of late on it, right? Like I was gonna watch it, and everyone talked about it so much. I knew like a bunch of the details were the best parts, and then I just didn't want to. I didn't want to watch it. That's why I hate people ruining movies for me because I don't know. If someone
You
talks
watch
about
them on
something
your
too
own
much,
time.
I don't see it.
This is a tension point in our podcast because I'm always like, movie came out 2 days ago. I'm like, we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
And Xavier likes.
I don't
to
like
wait
ruining shit for people.
extended periods
I'm the
of
kind of person. I like trailers to be as not as obvious as possible. Like the very first Sinners trailer that came out, you have no idea.
Wait, have you guys seen Sinners?
No,
I
I haven't.
haven't.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, please don't ruin it.
So the first trailer that came out for the movie is one of the best trailers for a movie I've ever seen because you're like, oh, some shit's going down, but you have no idea what the hell it is. And now I went to the movie not knowing very much, and that just made the movie better. I like going into things not really knowing what's going to happen as far as movies go.
Yeah, totally open-minded. I
Yeah,
get that.
It
That's
just,
very
your
Xavier.
expectations aren't anywhere really, so...
Dude, that's how I feel like the people that did Talk to Me are doing another horror movie, and it's getting like built up so high, and I hate it because I'm like, I know it's gonna be good, but yeah, I'm like they've made it out to be this thing where it's like, oh, it like makes people pass out, you know, those kind of horror movies where it's like they build it up.
Did you say Talk to Me?
Yeah, Talk to Me.
I've never heard of that.
It's the one with the hand?
With the
I didn't watch it either.
It's so good, dude.
I heard it's amazing. The people who don't like horror movies are like, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't even heard of it. What is it on?
I think you have to rent it.
Internet?
Yeah, it's on internet.
It's on the
On
Googles out there.
This thing called the World Wide Web.
Katie,
Yeah.
are you a horror movie person?
No.
No,
Dude, she don't
I
do-
have to sneak them in.
She don't do like
I'm not
thrillers.
either.
Yeah.
No.
What was the movie we were talking about the other day? And you're like, I'm good. No, I was trying to get them to watch the Tom Segura show, and I was explaining like how far out there and offensive and just crazy that shit is. And she started talking about something else, and I was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that to Katie." I was like, "Awesome." I think you could. I think you could tolerate some of it. Austin
Probably.
could do. He'd have the same reaction I would to it. But I was like jaw drop watching
Well,
it.
it's also a little bit harder because we were just talking before we got. They also have kids in the house, so like,
I mean, yeah,
your
but
guys is
Well,
like,
we
we can
get-
watch horror movies whenever we
We
want.
get grown-up time. It's like...
Yeah. Well,
you know.
Grown-up time.
and the kids are already ruined as far as stuff like that goes. Like they're they're
actually,
exposed to so much. I
they
mean,
would probably... Like, you have watched some movies with them that,
Yeah.
like, not... Like, the analog horror shit. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they're making a movie out of that.
But you
yeah,
know what?
the backroom stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like you watching movies that might be above, and this is like parenting
Yeah.
and stuff from a non-parent, so take me off.
It's the
But like,
best.
I feel like if you're watching it with them and you can like explain it to them as stuff comes up, that's different than them having a tablet and free reign to the internet to go.
So,
Yeah.
so Rexy, what you see here is what had happened is
yeah.
he grabbed her hand and
We
then...
we don't push it that far. Like we don't push it to where it'd be like shocking.
You can like
for
fast
us.
forward through like some scenes if you need to.
Yeah, I mean, but like they're yeah.
I mean, Jaws...
Rex got us into like Attack on Titan, and that's I mean it's
Bloody
anime, but it's like really gory.
Really
Bro,
gory.
that's what I've always
People
said
eating
about-
people.
The Star Wars Clone Wars series. I don't know if you ever watched that, but it is like it's Star Wars, but it goes like deep, like you know, and like in any war, there's like several layers to it, right? To like society, to different groups of people, especially when you're talking about like invading countries and minorities and like being enslaved. It gets into like all that stuff, like genocides and like this is not a kid's show.
That's what Grant said too.
Dude, it's wild. But so it's actually interesting we brought that up because the great debate for my oldest nephew, he is 12, I think.
Okay.
So
yeah.
at what age do you guys think it's appropriate to get a cell phone? This is the hot
Shall
topic.
I go first or shall you?
Yeah, you can go,
Go
for
ahead.
Yeah.
18.
This is an ongoing discussion.
Okay, it seems to be at my brother's household as well.
And I consistently tell Rex, you will get a phone when you need a phone, which is when you drive at 15, maybe 16. Because if it were just so simple as to give him a phone with only phone capabilities, we probably would have already done it.
Yeah.
But I'm not letting them on social media. Like, I'm just not. Like, the whole, like, depression, anxiety,
Yes.
like, child suicide, like, I'm just not. Like,
Yeah.
it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Well, so what age did you say?
15 or 16.
16.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's kind of hard because, you know, growing up, phones were like flip phones. You know, like, well, I guess like whenever we were like teenagers, or I guess whenever I was a teenager.
Well, we're on millennialistic, so
Millennialistic
we,
is the
all
we
millennialistic
were all.
minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, like they were, they only had like one function to like call.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe like a simple game or something. But
And
like,
you can take pictures, but they're so shitty.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't even think my first flip phone had a camera on it.
I don't think
Yeah,
so
I don't.
either.
I think
Mine
I had the LG. It was like a silver,
Yep.
shitty.
Yo,
Pop-up antenna?
Well, I had
Yeah,
the,
I think it did have the pop up.
I had the Razor.
Nokia flip
Carla
phone
was
for me.
balling.
Yeah.
I had my first one was one of those like Walmart track phones that I later in life learned
That's
that
what they
only
have.
drug dealers buy.
I got one of those. I got one of those from Best Buy
Yeah.
because
And
my
I mean-
parents weren't gonna let me have one, and I was like, you know what? I make my own money now, bitch.
Yeah.
I can go by my own minutes.
and I did. That's exactly
Dude,
how I did
I had
it.
one of those phones. You'd buy like a month's worth of minutes. Was it straight talk?
Yeah, straight talk. Yeah, prepaid.
Probably.
$50 a month. I
Yeah.
miss that shit, dude.
Yeah.
I'm paying like $130 now. Like,
Yeah.
You
No,
can go
I-
back to that. Like
I
it's
know, but-
available
Yeah.
for elderly people
I'm trying
and
to figure out how I can do that because like I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have to wait because I just told you earlier my phone is
we need
being weird.
we need sponsorships for this podcast. Like maybe Mint Mobile.
iPhone, Apple.
Ryan Reynolds, Hodge Boy. You know my Instagram.
Send us a MacBook, please.
Also, Steve Jobs. Come on, please.
So, but no, I have to say, Kate, I feel like I agree with you, and that was kind of my response to my brother. Was I feel like right now, and it's probably the same, but like your kids are always with you or another parent. So it's like if I ever need to get a hold of you, all I have to do is call that parent.
Yeah.
And it's like
Or even the kid, like because all the other kids have them, so it's like I can't even call that
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah. Why do you need one of all the other?
Well-
But it's just I feel like until you're out on your own and you need it, is probably because I looked at my
Yeah.
brother straight. I said, "Your kid is 12 years old. If you get him a phone, you know what he's going to use it for."
Yeah, and
I
it's
said,
like
you know what he's
He's
going
gonna
to use.
find out some
Phones?
shit you don't even know about.
So you know what he's going to use. It for. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
sexting.
Well.
Maybe not even that.
No.
I mean, probably, but it'll be an AI chatbot or something crazy.
Yeah, dude,
It's
that's
just-
the
it's all
crazy
kinds
world we live in.
it's just
Anyways,
it's
yeah.
the whole. It goes back to the whole like risk reward thing of just
It's
there's
not
so
worth it.
many rabbit holes kids can jump down, and they can find a way around every parental block you have.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
jailbreak that shit. Next thing you know, boom, boom, like
Yeah.
ruined.
Boom, boom.
Well, I was actually even talking
Why do I know
to.
exactly what you're talking about?
I was talking to Grant
Jesus
Gunderson recently about when I was probably 12 or 13 was when all the who was the terrorist group before ISIS? Al
All of them were
Qaeda.
terrorists.
Al Qaeda.
That's when Al Qaeda was like releasing videos of
Taliban
them, like,
was first.
murdering people.
Taliban was first, and then Al Qaeda
Yeah,
came
yeah.
after, and then.
But I think I watched like an
Yeah,
Al
then
Qaeda
Kanye.
video at like 12 of like them slicing
Oh, I
this
did
American
not. My
journalist's head off.
My
Yeah.
girlfriend in
It
high
was
school
wild.
tried to show me that video. I walked out of the room.
Yeah,
She
and
was like,
once you
"Yo,
I
see
found this
that,
crazy
Yeah, you don't
video.
you
do
can't
that.
unsee it.
There's
you
certain
know?
videos.
She
that
started
are like
it, and I
that, yeah.
saw them. And then I walked out.
Just
of
to
that room.
loop this around, this is why I don't watch horror or thriller, because when you put that shit in your brain, you do not get it out.
That is
It was
true.
real.
I
so
mean-
you really don't.
Dude, I can't even
Yeah.
get the thoughts like in my head that are made up out of my brain.
Yeah.
Like let alone the stuff that like I know is happening that's just horrific.
So like I'll get notifications on my phone of like because Reddit's horrible about that. If you go down one rabbit hole on Reddit, it's like, okay, I know what he's into now. And now I get like emails. It's like, hey, like warfare video. Like you want to see this guy like get his legs blown
I
off.
wonder why the algorithm
And like I'll be like
decided
I'll
that.
wake up at like 3 a.m. and like look at my phone and be like,
emails.
yeah, I'll look at that, and then.
Yeah, I'll check it. They're fighting in the Middle East right now. I can live stream it.
it's not good,
All right.
man.
It's like 8 by 10 foot gets nuked. Like, all right,
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, not good.
I was thinking about this earlier because, like, we're talking about, giving kids access to cell phones and internet right now. When we were that age, like, we didn't have even the option yet. Like, cell phones were like, you could call and
that's it.
And T9 text.
Yeah.
But, like,
text.
my mom, it's T9, right?
You're
Yeah.
I was really good at it. I was like, I had a
I can do it while
I can
driving
still
like
do
a
it now,
motherfucker,
like,
dude.
Yeah.
I remember that letter. I get to run the streets like wild. I was in the creeks.
creeks.
I was in the trees. I was on vines.
You were in walls.
I was
Yeah, you
in
get
people's
stuck in a
houses I
wall.
wasn't supposed to be in, and I'm fine.
in attics.
But now, yeah, dude, definitely addicts.
Well,
I got a story about addicts.
How
I know
addicts?
you do.
How many addicts?
At least 2.
Oh, we're talking ATT
Yeah,
ICSs.
yeah, not in addicts.
I thought you were saying you were just going into random addict's house, and I was like, okay, that you probably shouldn't have been.
That
doing.
didn't happen until later as an adult. Anyway, just kidding. No, but like I get to run free. I was a latchkey kid. I lived in Kansas. It was me and my mom, only family there. Eventually, when we made friends with other kids' parents in the neighborhoods, which I'm still in contact with a few of them still today. But my mom was like, "Go to work, like lock the door, don't answer it for no fucking body, don't burn the house down, and be inside the house by this time."
Yeah,
Please God.
Yeah, but I
and
feel
like
like
now it's not like that. Parents are like,
No,
I need
fuck
eyes
no.
on you all the time.
No,
It's
But I feel like back then you also didn't have the, and sorry to go down like the horse, but you didn't have like the fucking sex trafficking and all that.
Oh,
like,
you did.
I think
You
hell?
did.
Well, let me
You
back
You
up, let me
fucking
back up.
did. People
You
just
did.
weren't as aware of it as
They weren't
they
as
are
aware,
now.
and I feel like it wasn't as prevalent maybe as it. I feel like it's evolved into
Dude, I have a
much
theory.
bigger thing than
I have a
maybe
theory
it was.
that-
Well, the
20,
internet
30.
is allowed a lot of that.
Yeah,
So yeah.
the
I
dark
think-
web.
I think that when people are like, people are like, it's a debate between, is it actually getting worse or are we just seeing more of it so we
more
think
of
it's
it.
worse?
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that it's a vicious cycle to where we're exposed to so much, and that's actually maybe making it worse. Like more people are becoming aware of things that are happening, and some of these people, instead of being like, I don't like that, or
They're like,
become interested.
I
in
can
that.
be myself. Like, this is all self-empowerment, and I identify with that terrifying slice of
And I really
humanity.
hope I'm wrong.
That's kind of what the whole Batman movie was about, right?
Dark Knight.
No, the newer one with.
I haven't seen it.
Twilight guy.
Oh, the Bat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
With the
I just
Riddler,
can't
I mean,
do
I
I
Robert
feel bad talking
Pattinson.
shit about him, but that's a great movie.
No, it was
He did a
but
pretty
that,
good
but
job.
that whole thing with the Riddler was like him basically like inciting a mob to like go crazy and fucking shoot a bunch of people.
Yeah. But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but yeah. So I didn't say what age. I think I'm on the same page, about like 15, for like phones for kids. I think, but because like their tablet is basically a phone. Like,
Okay, good point.
It's a
Good
big phone.
point. Yep.
It's
I mean, they
easier
can
to
make
control,
calls.
or at least I think it's easier to control. You do all the controlling.
Yeah.
At least you have the
There's
the
the-
perception that you have control.
There is the
Yeah, right.
illusion.
I know. I'm like that dude. I
teach him how to
remember.
code.
But then again, like I feel like our parents thought they had control, but like technology was also pretty new at that point. So it was like, and kids are way more like fluent. Like they're going to figure it out before you can. Like our kids automatically like just kind of know how to work stuff.
I don't know. I don't feel like Rexy would put in the effort to like learn to code or like crack shit, hack anything.
He's 12 though.
And Jesse would, but he's too distracted with like the unpleasantness of learning the basics on shit. He wants to be a developer, like, and code games. So at some point we would need to worry about that. but-
Yeah, when they get into high school, jailbreak this? Yeah, let me see your calculator. You want some games?
But
Here's a game about selling drugs. Have fun.
Yeah.
We played games in class about selling drugs on calculators.
Wow.
Which
You
game?
didn't go to my high school.
Yeah, I went to a
Grand Theft
private
Auto?
Christian
sell
school,
drugs.
so I did
that
not
was a
know
little
about that.
We didn't. I didn't.
Although I will say the private Catholic school in our conference was probably some of
The worst
behaved.
offenders.
The
Yeah,
Like
Catholic-
they showed up to every basketball game. Their whole student section was just piss drunk. Like
Catholics?
soft, like 15, 16, 17-year-old kids.
I know that's terrible, but
think they
I
were showing
really
out.
would love to see something like that. I mean,
Bloomington Central Catholic.
I mean, Protestant Christian schools are quite a bit different than that. But
just lashing out because they've been so suppressed.
I mean, if it was that way, I probably
Yeah.
would have found my way to some of that. To be honest, I
Good
was.
thing you found us. We didn't ruin you till later.
Yeah. Well, I
That
mean,
is correct. This is historically correct.
is it possible that you just didn't know it was happening?
Let's say, for sake of the argument, that it was like I definitely went out of my way to try and find trouble.
Yeah, I got you. So you were like
I
you
was
had like the
like-
radar. You were like the satellite dish. You were trying to find it.
Oh yeah, like I was definitely especially with boys. And I feel like if boys want to impress a girl, they're gonna, make slightly stupider decisions about telling them about that sort of thing.
That's true.
Yeah, that goes on for too long for some people.
Yeah, for some people.
I'm like, bro, you did what?
Oh
my
God.
Wait, hold on, Kim. I feel like we need to unpack that. So when you say
Yes.
when you say a private Protestant school, is this a Baptist school?
Baptist, yeah.
Oh, okay, buckle up.
Which Austin is like of the opinion that like they're all the same, and like
Wait, what do you
like
I thought
all
they
the
were
Protestant
Not
religions.
racist.
Oh, the
people.
no, the churches. I'm saying the
Churches.
churches, like if they say they're like Foursquare or Protestant or whatever, if you're in the South, it's Baptist. That's like my opinion on
It's
the matter.
his opinion.
But yeah.
Some got snakes,
Well,
some don't.
That's a very like generalized
Yeah.
thought, I would say. I mean, there's definitely like I go to a Pentecostal church. Like, there's all kinds of different like churches in the South. Baptists are definitely the most prevalent and the most like hardcore for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Church of Christ is more hardcore than Baptist.
I've been hearing more of that lately.
As
but I
far
don't
as like
know
prohibitions on shit, no art,
See,
no instruments in the church, like no.
See, I grew up like Methodist, where it was like you got
Methodists
a
are
piano.
so fucking like. There's a purity to Methodism though that I
Yeah.
really appreciate.
very
There's
humble,
no
yeah.
like prohibitions on drinking. It's really, and it's also like a more like open-minded approach to the Bible and the message, where it's like, yeah, you have like Protestant, preachers that are gay or lesbian or like they're just more socially flexible than the others.
Yeah,
I
there's-
was Methodist before I like walked away
Yeah.
from everything.
It's definitely an interesting way to grow up. It's a very like orthodox like service. So I can't really.
So you grew up with Methodism.
Methodist.
Yeah, see,
And
I
now
grew
go
up with Baptist.
Pentecostal, and it's much different.
Oh, you were I was Baptist too.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
Dude,
absolutely-
I've got relatives that are Pentecostal.
Which
so
was the one that
Hating
like
snakes.
yeah, where they is that the
Pentecostal.
tongues? Is that the tongues one?
yeah, speaking in tongues.
I mean, that one.
Oh, we can totally
That's
unpack
fun.
that if you want.
That's some fun right there.
Dude, okay, so basically Pentecostals just like believe, from my understanding, and I probably haven't dove as deep as I need to, but basically that like God in the form of the Holy Spirit can like still come down on you and like act on your behalf. Where a lot of other Christian sects, I think, but Baptists is this way, like basically believe that can't happen anymore. Like God can't do.
Well,
miracles
Baptists
through-
not only believe that it doesn't happen, they don't believe that is
can't
what
happen,
happened in biblical records. Like the whole like tongues of flames New Testament moment where they had like a fire above their heads shit. Like they don't believe that that's the appropriate like interpretation of it at all.
Which is just wild because it really boils down to it's thousands of people's interpret it. And that's where I'm just like, I think it's like you have to interpret it. If you're going to do religion to any degree, you have to interpret it with like your own conscience. And like, you have to ask yourself, like, is this what I believe? Does this sound right? Like, you have to like
Yeah, you do.
question that. You know what I
religion in
mean?
general does not like feed into that thought process whatsoever.
Right.
The questioning.
Which is wild. Not all does. Yeah.
I think most of it.
I don't know.
I think most of it is black or white, and I think that's why a lot of people stray from it. Where they're like, man, it does say in the Bible, of course, like, hey, we're made in God's image, right? So it's like he gave us this ability to question. Correct?
Well,
Question
okay.
things,
I took the Christian thing pretty far. I even went to a Christian college, and I was a philosophy Christian studies major. So they
She's
will
going deeper
they
than
will
we have.
say, God created you to use your brain, use it. And then I look around the room, and why am I the only female in the fucking room with this major? Because guess what? Like,
'Cause women
I'm in
can't
the
think,
South,
Katie.
and women don't think, and
Silly
they
brains?
silly brains, you know.
That's
Like,
for the
Blow your
men to
tiny
think.
brain.
it's
No,
like
well,
when
like-
it comes to like ideology versus actual fucking practice, like there's a line there to be said about all of the above too. Like,
I just
You know,
realized
like
that people
Methodists,
listening
like-
to this won't know that reference at all. So, sorry.
What?
Just
oh,
don't
the
worry
tiny
about
brain,
it. Yeah.
tiny brain. Were you there for tiny brain?
No.
We
No,
don't need
he
to get
wasn't
into
in the
it.
car.
We don't need to get into it.
We could tell the story without saying.
You've
Nah.
heard it. We'll circle back.
Yeah, we'll circle back on that.
That'll be a Patreon.
Oh, that's so funny, dude.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that, kid. That like you.
Oh
you,
yeah,
like,
I
studied
bought
that
it.
hardcore. Yeah,
I bought
love
it
that.
so hard, like
Yeah.
using my brain for Jesus. Like I bought it. I was in.
I
Man.
got deep in my church growing up where where I have a much different perspective than a lot of other people is I had a super like positive church experience as a kid where like 99.9% of the other people I talked to did not have that experience. And, you know, certain demographic of that people had horrific experiences, like, which obviously we all know. So it's like, obviously that makes sense. But I just say that to say, like, that's just not how I saw it growing up. And it's like, I think it's unfortunate that that is how like a lot of people saw it, because I do still think that there are still like plenty of churches out there with like plenty of good people that like do good
And it
things.
varies from church to church, does it?
Yeah.
Like,
But like that's like the church I go to is like very big on like we believe in science, like come in here with an open mind. They have like women pastors on their staff, which even like some of my Christian friends are like, oh, your church has
my
women
God.
pastors, like
Women
what's going on there?
pastors.
They believe in science and women pastors.
It's
Whoa.
a wild place, guys. So, but no, it's just like
Maybe I should go back. Maybe I should
No, but, like,
readopt
that's the
this
thing, it's like,
faith
You can tell
thing.
you're getting serious because you're like holding the mic
Go.
like right here.
I should like go become a
But I
pastor at
But I
Brian's
have
church.
been other churches down here that are straight up like, all right, well here's a sermon for 45 minutes on like why you need to vote for Trump and why abortions are bad, and I'm just like, this is so like
church and state are supposed to be
politicized.
separated,
Yeah,
but it's
just
not.
like
Yeah.
this is
They don't-
gross.
This is not like historically new though. Like
No,
this
it's
is
not,
like
yeah.
the
History
role.
repeats itself.
This is the role that like religion has played in society since the very fucking beginning, and not just the
That's true.
Christianity
Yeah, no.
religion. This is like religion in general.
Yeah,
Its core function has been to direct like social norms
Well, like,
within society.
You never hear of people going for like the atheist vote or things like that. You know, it's
There's
usually
also not a book of atheism, you know what I mean?
yeah. Well, because
I
like
mean, there's kind of, but not really.
you know, yeah.
Because there doesn't need to be.
I was gonna say, isn't atheism just kind of the belief in like the absence of a book?
Well, it's
It's just like
an
we're out here
absence.
for acts by accident.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
But like if you created a manuscript on how to be atheist, wouldn't that be like creating a religion? Which like isn't atheism like
In a form, yeah.
An
Yeah,
anarchist
like-
cookbook.
if you were like, no, we're not religious, we're this, and it's
Yeah.
like, well,
Well-
but what you just described, like, so you follow a book.
Wait,
you guys got a
that's
leader?
kinda why I
that's
don't-
Satanism.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why
there's
that I
different-
don't say that I'm an atheist. Really, is that like, you know, I don't know what I would classify myself as, but saying that you're atheist is kind of like saying that you
If you're saying
belong
you're
to a
part of a
religion.
group.
That you like for
Yeah.
sure believe something.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't.
okay.
I
Yeah,
don't
that makes
identify
sense.
that way either.
See, I've
Yeah.
never viewed it as that.
That's
I've
what we call
always,
agnostic.
Agnostic. I'm
oh,
agnostic.
yeah. See, I think I always have gotten kind of the two mixed up there.
I'm
Yeah.
like religiously traumatized and spiritually agnostic. Yeah.
No, that
Religiously
like,
traumatized.
Like, that
Yeah.
makes total sense to me. Because and this is what I was saying earlier. Like I saw it from a viewpoint growing up of like, it got real like political, where it was like, this person wanted it done this way, and this person wanted it done this way. But it's like we're all using like Christianity to kind of like smoke and mirrors it, to where it's like, no, you're just like kind of talking shit about that other person at this point. Like that's not what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So that kind of turned me off for probably 10 years, like up until probably 3 years ago. So I
So-
definitely like understand why, like how people go through that.
I want to know that. Because like the Brian that I know, and I'm not saying this in like, oh, you're so amoral, because that's not how I feel at all. But like, I just didn't know that your faith was like an important part of your life. And then, you know, recently talking with Xavier, and he was like, yeah, like Brian's like really into this community that he's a part of, and like this is like a thing for him. And I'm like, okay, like tell me that story. Like, why are you
I
there?
really haven't.
I mean, I told her, I was like, because we like started talking about religion, and I was like, Brian's religious, and she was like, what? I was like, yeah. I was like, but I feel like you're a really good example of how a lot of Christians should be, because you don't press your views on people, but you also, when you talk about it, you talk about it in a way where you're not like, hey, I'm above you, more so like, hey, this is how it helps me and helps a lot of other people, and it's like, the way everyone should be.
Yeah.
If
Well,
more people were Christians that were like, I feel like you,
Yeah.
the world would be a better place. But there's so many people who are so judgmental, or they're not open-minded enough, or they really do feel like they're above somebody else. And
Yeah.
But
Well,
is not.
I appreciate you saying that because
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
and it can like that's hard because a lot of times like I know I'm not righteous, right? So it's like
everyone's a sinner.
that's where it's like I have a hard time with the whole like God hates gays thing. It's like, all right, we can have a conversation on if you think homosexuality is a sin or not, and that's fine. Like that's a conversation we can have. But at the end of the day, like I sin every day too. So it's like, who am I to sit here and say, well, God's gonna let me in, he's gonna let my sins go, but you're
So
gay,
it's a
so he's
sin.
not gonna
You
let
did
you
everything
in.
else perfect, but
Yeah,
but
so
you're
it's
a man who
like-
likes men or
And
likes women.
but
You can't
bro,
get in. I'm
I
sorry.
will tell you, like the
Doesn't make sense.
foundation of that is, I truly believe it is my job on this earth to love people. It is not like I believe God will judge, and it's not my right to judge those people. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like whatever path you're on, I totally. And I also understand. This is the thing where I get into like with religious and politics of like everybody believes what they believe for a reason. You know what I mean? We all had different upbringings. We all have different perspectives. We all have different lives and different like. So everybody just kind of goes through different things. But to answer your question, Katie, long story short, because I really haven't talked about this for like a long time. But basically, after my divorce, I didn't really know what to do. It was Christmas that year, and I remember I called my mom. And I'm a very like family oriented person. Like family's a big thing for me. I told her, I said, hey, I'm going through too much right now. I said, I'm not gonna be able to make it home for Christmas. I said, I don't really know what I'm gonna do, but I'm not making it home for. I can't be around my nieces and nephews. Can't do that. She was the one that told me like, all right, well, you should go to a church, like if nothing else. And so I kind of drug myself to this church in like Nolensville. And that like that felt good. It was like a Christmas Eve service, and like that felt good. Fast forward a little bit, I move up here, and I found this church, which is like 10 minutes away. And I went in there, and they had an older pastor who, long story short, it's kind of weird because like I felt like I was in the face. This church had been going through a bunch of stuff. They had apparently gone through a bunch of, the former pastor cheated on his wife and like very, very public divorce and a whole thing there. So they were like working on finding a new pastor, and then they got a new pastor, but and he's been awesome. Like, dude breaks down Bible really good, explains it really well. But for me, what I found individually was that as I got on that path, and again, as I just followed what made sense to me, you know what I mean? Like, I was going every Sunday. What they were saying made sense. None of really what they said I disagreed with. You know what I mean? And I just started thinking to myself, all right, maybe this religion stuff is a little bit crazy, right? But I've got so many friends that clearly the way I was doing it before, where I'm partying all the time, not being disciplined, doing a bunch of shit that I don't need to be doing, that's not what was giving me abundant life, which is what or purpose or any of that. So I said, all right, let me at least give this a chance. And just as I've gotten deeper into that, I found more purpose, more peace, more joy, more abundant life. And furthermore, I've seen a lot of my friends, a lot of our friends not, you know what I mean? Like just recently, bro, we've had friends commit suicide, get locked up, get DUIs, so I'm just like, man, at what point like do you give up control of that life and like start believing and put your faith in like something a little bit higher? I know it's like a little bit of a rant, but
No, you're good.
but like that's just kind of, I guess, where I've been at for the last like 3 years.
So just to level with you, so I'm not religious, but I have spirituality. And it was gone for a long time. I had a lot more when I was younger. But I felt like when I realized it again and just was kind of, like, I guess you can call it pray. Would just be like, hey, I'm going to try my best. Universe, God, give me some signs. 'Cause I've seen it before, just to get like real like woo-woo when you guys or whatever you want to call it. But asking this and being like fully feeling I really want more for my life, and then days, weeks later, something would happen that was really like weird, some kind of coincidence, which I don't believe in coincidence, that would show me like a fork in the road, and I'd be like, oh, this is what I asked for. So I have like this sign of something like, hey, you asked for it, here's your options. And then I take the road that I want in these two options, and things would start coming my way. And I interpreted it as like God is like, hey, you need some help, I got you. And I haven't had that happen in a while, but where I am and how happy I am currently is because of the decision I made when I saw that fork. And I read about this online, and all types of people across the world of different demographics are all like, this is something that we all have experienced. I went to my friend Ashley's house last night. I had no idea she had been to. Sorry if I'm airing this out, but she had been to rehab. She had no idea that she was in rehab. I grew up with her, and she's atheist for the longest time. I've known her since she was 12. I was 13 when I met her, and she was 12. Now she's like, oh, I believe in a God, like, no doubt. And I'm like, what happened? And she told me the exact same thing. She was like, she just thought like, hey, I need something else. And things started showing themselves to her, and she started making decisions, and little bitty things would line up. Like, weird coincidences is a thing. Like, I'd be thinking about something, and that person would say something later on that lined up with exactly what you were thinking about, and it kept happening time and time and time and time again. To where she's like, this is not coincidence because it happens way too often, too quick after me thinking about it.
Yeah, that's basically what's been happening to me for the last like 3 years.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I put myself out there, just like I'm not happy, something's not working.
Yeah,
you got to give up to the universe. Like, all right, give me something, and it works. If you really want it, you'll start seeing it.
So you had a point. Go.
I just feel like
this is getting heavy.
This might be.
I did not know where we were going, but I love
this might be one of those like conflating, what is it?
Contrarian.
Something with correlation.
Oh, correlation and causation.
Yes, correlation and causation. So like, having been that person.
Am I the only one doing a shot? You want to do a shot?
I want to do a shot for sure. Having been that person like my whole life, like so serious, like there is something to be said now that I'm not, and I can look at things from a different lens. It's like, is not the thing that we're all observing is the acknowledgement that what and where we're at isn't what we want, and that we're open to seeing things fresh. Is that not the thing that is the change? That is the, like, maybe those like signs were there all along, and because of our egos and our stubbornness, like, we did not see them. And like, I do understand, and it's so hard for me to not like, plant the nails in on people that are having this moment, where they really feel that it's God. But like, ultimately, like, that's not the person that I want to be. Like, I do really respect people's individual experiences, but it just like, it's a similar thing whether you end up being like, yeah, like, I want to be Buddhist now, and I want to transcend my own human experience, or like, I want to transcend space and time. Yeah, like, sorry, that's a reference from I Heart Huckabees. Yeah. It's my favorite movie.
Space, not time. Wait, no, I don't know what you mean.
But it's like, I also have to like claim, like you've like really shared like your context, but like my context isn't positive, and it's just like, I wanted so long, it was my own personal journey as an adult, to find a place like you're talking about, where others wanted to study the Bible and like really discuss what that meant, like in practice for your life. and like how that impacted your decisions and like how you loved and how you cared. And like, I just never found it. And so, then, meeting Austin, and like one question he asked me just kind of like was like the last like poke in the
last
balloon.
Yeah,
And it was like,
no, it was way after that.
but like,
And we didn't meet on Tinder either, so.
We did not meet on Tinder. That is another story. It's an
Yeah,
excellent
anyway,
story
sorry,
how
I
we
didn't mean
met.
to-
But I think the commonality is humility is where I'm going with this, of like, and I am agnostic, so there could be a God. There could be. And like I could be wrong, and my experience could just be tragic, and really God is amazing. But like, I think humility of like tamping down your own ego and being willing to look at a situation fresh is the thing that is common between all outcomes here, where you make a positive change in your life for whatever kind of situation, whether that's like health, like we're in a health kick right now, or like whether that's like faith and purpose. Like, that's the commonality for me, is like that humbling of yourself. Like, okay, I don't got this. Like, my plan ain't shit. What else can I observe?
Well, and I think that's a key thing with like most religions too, of like, really, if you look at the basis of like every religion, if everybody lived by that, like, that's really not a problem. But it's when you start using your religion to like weaponize and like
And then literally
damn
get
people.
weapons.
But it's
over
like, treat your neighbor like yourself. Everybody can get behind that, and which is basically the principle behind every single religion, is like, respect your fellow man, is basically what they all boil down to.
Yeah, well, I mean,
to a point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Buddhism is a little different than that.
But isn't there?
Think
But
about-
well, I know every religion basically has like a 10 Commandments,
Yeah, but
And I
then,
think Buddhist is very similar, but I think they include like respect the earth and respect like plants and animals
it's,
as well.
It's more like eliminating want and desire,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's like
acknowledging that existence is suffering.
Which,
Yeah.
well, and again, I think that goes
Because
back to
it is.
I mean, yeah.
like you
But
always
like, don't
want.
Existence
when
is suffering.
Some people focus on that, like, oh my god, everything's so hard. I'm like, yeah,
Well, and that's
it
just
is,
like
but guess
glorification
what?
of
you
suffering.
have options. You have ability to do something different about it. Not everything happens in the way that you want, but sometimes when you look back, you're like, that thing that sucked needed to happen so I can get to where I am today.
Yeah.
And you got to remember that, because I mean, not everything goes to plan, but sometimes you look back and you're like, hey, I don't regret any of that. That was hard.
There is
But I'm
such a
so-
desire, though. Like, there's such a human desire for there to have been a plan.
Oh, I got plans.
But a
Well,
plan of
it's just-
someone else.
Yeah.
A plan of
But here-
someone else. I have
I-
plans
we
to.
didn't
Oh, I
do
did
this.
it. I'm
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
you did this?
Here's a plan.
Is like, okay, like, I like, I'm finite. I'm human. I'm like a blip in the, history of the universe. Like, okay, I can see that my ego doesn't have the best plan, but like something bigger does. Is like, it's just so appealing, right? It's just like a panacea, like just like a little swaddling blanket
like
for
God's
your
in
soul.
control. Yeah, this is gonna be all right. God's in control. He's got
Like, even though I can't see it, like, there's meaning in this, and like, I will continue down a path and
It
just.
doesn't all seem pointless.
I've heard people say the same thing too about like when people get close to death, right? Of like a lot of people use religion as like a comforting blanket.
I'm
to,
pretty
like,
sure natural occurring drugs are a part of that.
Naturally
yes,
occurring.
yes, probably.
drugs.
As far as like
All
what?
the-
Oh,
chemicals that
DMT.
kick
I
in,
got you.
yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
naturally occurring DMT.
Well,
in
well,
your brain.
I'm just saying more like people like in hospice and all that are like, they'll get real religious real quick because the
Yeah.
thought that like, hey, you're about to die and like be
You're like,
buried
what if
and
I'm
put in a
wrong? I'm
hole
buying a
is,
ticket.
like, not-
I gotta get into the
Yeah,
ship.
exactly,
I don't know
exactly.
if all the seats are sold out, but I'm trying to buy one.
But also,
All the seats are sold out.
if that is the case, then like, what a fucking racket, right? Why live your life
Yeah,
for Jesus
yeah.
if that's all it takes?
Well, and I think that is the big positive of like there is like a moral, because like if you have a whole society where people have no moral compass like that. Of like, there's nothing like.
It's called Los Angeles.
What is to stop you? Yeah, from going and rioting and looting and murdering and like I don't know. I think it definitely goes back to the ego thing of like, you've got to check yourself and understand like you're not in control of the universe. Like, and again, I think that's a humbling principle for every human being to learn. And I think also with religion, there's like also a discipline that comes with it, right? Like if you're practicing any religion, there's like things that go with that. And I think disciplining yourself, disciplining your schedule,
routine,
like exactly all that gets people. And again, like when you start doing that, now you start trending in the right direction. It's like, that's not a coincidence. Yeah. So I definitely get what you're saying.
I feel like I've done it before. I'm like, I've had ups and downs where I veer off a little bit and I'm like maybe partying too much, like just not doing anything creative, not doing anything to push myself, and then I snap myself out of it, and I'm like eating right, working out, being creative, like going on my way to help somebody, you know, and then things just start coming to my life, like not like rewards, but it kind of feels like that sometimes, where just something falls in your lap, and you're like, damn, do I deserve this? This is great, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of goes into what I do believe too, like the energy you put out into the world is the energy.
Yeah, I
for
think
sure.
with all the
Like
time.
you can call it karma,
so.
like you can call it whatever, but like I do believe, like I just feel like people that I call like world victims, that it's like the whole world's against them.
Dude,
everyone
so
at their job hates them. Their
now.
car
It's
doesn't
so
work.
common.
It's like, but like, what are you doing to put positivity back into the world? What are you
Well, it
doing
is
for
a
other
choice.
people outside of yourself to like, you know what I mean? It just like all this is happening to you. What are you doing for other people? You know what I mean? Hey, that's going to wrap up episode 121 of Millennialistic. Thanks again for hanging out with us. Make sure if you want to catch part 2 of this interview with our good friends Austin and Katie Parker, make sure to go subscribe to our Patreon. Make sure to click on the link tree there and fill out the survey for a chance to win 2 free tickets to Goddess Awakening 2025. October 16th through 19th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You will also be entered, given a bonus entry into that sweepstakes for subscribing to our Patreon. And for this episode, because we love Austin and Katie so much, we are going to gift out your first free month. So, ladies and gentlemen, that means you can subscribe to our Patreon for free and get a bonus entry for our Goddess Awakening sweepstakes. So go on our link tree, fill out the survey, subscribe to our Patreon, download this episode, laugh your ass off, share it with a friend. Love you guys.
I'd like to begin with a fact.